Oh, mio coles. Let's get this shit started. I think you can hear me. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can hear me. We're gonna get this shit live and started. I want to do this as quickly as possible, and let me just tell you the nonsense. So I'm gonna go over what happened, um, and why people are in such an outrage right now. So I wanted to actually like start this shit going on. All right, let me just find my fucking thing that I put up here. All right, so it's the show thread here. All right, cool. And then put you up here so everybody can share it. All right, we have another about what do you call it? A loud discussion here. And what's going on, Chris? What is going on, man? I couldn't get enough, but I wanted to actually have a conversation about this. I'm not one for intros, so we're just going to go straight into it. We're going to cut right to the chase. And we're going to talk about actually the outrage about what happened. So the first things first, there was a rumor that has come out. And actually, let me throw you up in there. Let me see if you want to speak. I'm not going to try to make this a crazy long space or anything like that. That ain't my intentions. Like I literally just came out of work, and that's how just came out of work, and I was going to do this tonight because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. What's going on, man? You were able to? There you go. I hear you.
Yeah, what's up, man?
All right, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I think you went over what's going on, man. What's going on, Dean? I think you pretty much exhausted everything that we can talk about here, but I wanted to kind of take a different angle. When I seen the outrage that was going on, I just like your issue is that it seems like people are so much of a fanboy that they just can't let shit go. They can't get an L. They can't like in anything that Sony does. They're so fanboyish that they can't help themselves but just
Every decision that Sony makes is a sound and logical decision according to every single decision is a sound and logical decision according to fanboys and stuff like that. Because even with like the Horizon, like I'm not outraged. But I'll show you my post of what I what you call it. My post on my first reaction to this news was let me see if I can get it right now. Should be no, not that one, not that one, not that one. It was okay. So this was my initial post. Was I always said Horizon can have a great multiplayer concept that can potentially rival a game like Monster Hunter. So it'll be interesting to see. However, a remake or a remaster is definitely not needed. Um, it will be a waste of resources to do it. In my personal opinion, because the game is already available and it runs great. Yeah, there's definitely outdated aspects to it, facial animation and stuff like that definitely can be cleaned up and whatnot. But I'm not outraged at this game being potentially existing or anything like that, right? I'm not outraged. I have not. I like the Horizon games, right? I have nothing against it. Contrary, it's like I poke fun of it when we're talking about Breath of the Wild and stuff like that, right? Um, but to me, like when I did that thing earlier, it was like I saw some people were like, "Well, what about Bloodborne, right? Or what about this game? Or what about that game?" But then I seen some people like, "Well, nobody bought Bloodborne, or nobody did that, or nobody buys this, that, and third, or whatever." And it's like, bro, like, come on, man. It's like there's nothing wrong with like somebody asking us like, yo, I would rather the resources be spent on, and I don't know what the resources cost or is going to cost for this. We don't know if it takes away from anything or whatever, but we know if money is being spent in one place, it's not being spent in another place. That's all that I know, right? So the whole outrage and stuff like that, like people are always going to be outraged for things. I think most outrage and most complaints are dumb from majority of people that complain about PlayStation and stuff like that. I think most of the like The PS3 store outrage, I thought was stupid. The SSD outrage, I thought was stupid. The customer service outrage last week, I thought was super stupid. I didn't even want to comment on that shit or whatever. But then there's other things that's like, yo, we feel like Sony can do better in this area, or we feel like there's other games that I believe that deserves more of this treatment than I get it. Horizon's a 20 million seller, and they got a movie coming out, and they want to capitalize on that shit. And that game, the remaster is probably going to sell more than Returnal, which is a brand new IP.
What's going on, Double Shooter?
So I'm not outraged about this Horizon, this thing potentially existing. I just feel like there's other games that people have been asking for more so than a Horizon that I think should but like what we were talking about earlier is like we still don't know all of Sony's hands. They're very quiet. They're not transparent this gen at all compared to last generation. They don't communicate as well this gen as the last generation. So there could be a shit ton of things in the works that could just shut me all the way the fuck up. You know what I mean? shut me down and be like, yo, all that bitching you were complaining you were doing all in 2022 was not warranted because we were doing this the whole time in the background and stuff like that. But like I said, we don't know that, so I can only go off of what I see and know. And to me, that Horizon thing, I think that I get why they're doing it, right? And they're doing like the Spider-Man remaster. Honestly, I'm not gonna have an issue with this.
You shouldn't have an issue. Look, Chris, you shouldn't have an issue with all the Nintendo shit that they be doing, all them remasters, 17 remasters of Wind Waker.
Right. But here's the thing, like the thing, and this is what I bring up. It's like for certain games, that's for other games, no, right? To me, if the game is already available and it runs already well, I wouldn't like. For example, like I want Wind Waker to be on the Switch, the remaster, right? But if Wind Waker was already available on the Switch, and then say the Switch 2 came out and it's fully backwards compatible, right? And it takes and it takes advantage of the hardware, right? Wind Waker, whatever. And then Nintendo decides to do, hey, we're gonna make Wind Waker remaster remix. I'm gonna be like, there's just no fucking point. I can already play Wind Waker on my next gen Switch at 60 FPS. There's no point for that. Just like with Bloodborne, if they made a 60 FPS patch for Bloodborne, I would think there's just no reason for a remaster for that.
For 60
and like Demon Souls wasn't available on PS4 or PS5. I'm totally okay with that. If Horizon wasn't available on the PS5, totally. I wouldn't be saying that it's not needed. I'll be like, yeah, sure, why not? You know what I mean? It's a great game. It's gonna have enhancements. And
let me let Brian get in there.
I just wanted to comment on 2 points that what Chris said. I still stand on what we talked about earlier, and I want you to know I was joking about the silent corporations.
Oh no, I don't.
I roll and have a little fun because I think some of these topics is just so fucking stupid. It's just I don't even know why we bother at some points. But to touch on a couple of your points, the Bloodborne thing, the Bloodborne patch, never going to happen.
Oh.
The best thing we're going to see is a Bloodborne remaster if it ever comes out.
Yeah, and if a Bloodborne patch never happens, I'll be okay with a remaster because I would rather that than to be stuck playing at 20 FPS with terrible frame pacing issues.
Well, you know what it is? It's the problem with Bloodborne is that it looks.
I wasn't even finished.
Look, this nigga, this is my fucking space.
Yeah, but I'm a guest.
And you need to take off your fucking shoes when you come in my fucking crib. No, go on, man.
No, I was just saying, especially for me who just recently beat Bloodborne and Platinum it, I do agree with you 100%. It really needs a 60 patch. And I obviously played it on PS5. But far as in the Returnal, that's did 1.1 million copies so far on the PS5. And that was only made by 20 people. So that's pretty impressive, and I think that's why we see Sony making these moves. And the Horizon, fuck it exists. It's going to happen. And all we're going to do is either we're going to buy it or we're not going to buy it. And that's just the only choices we have as consumers.
Right. That's why. That's why I don't get outraged by it because.
And like I said, Chris, I do agree with you on the fanboy stuff, but I think it's okay to call them fanboys out now at this point because we keep using that general term. Like, I love Sony, I love PlayStation, but I also can call out the bullshit. And I don't know if that makes me a fanboy or just somebody who prefers PlayStation. It's really hard to say what it makes me at this point.
That's the reason why. That's the reason why I have this space.
And I appreciate what Nate said in my space earlier because I 100% agree with them. I'm not really dissatisfied with PlayStation in terms of like overall, like I love my PS5. I love the content that's, I love Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, Horizon, Seafood, Kenna. You know what I mean? For the first 2 years, it's been great. And I feel like they've had a much better launch lineup than the PS4, personally. You know what I mean? The only thing I'm disappointed in is really the cross-gen games. I wish Horizon and God of War was built for the PS5. For the ground up and stuff like that, right? But there are certain things that I want, like me personally, for obviously for my own personal reason, you can call it selfish reasons and stuff like that. But there are things that I want Sony to kind of go back to and to kind of try again and stuff like that, right? In addition to what they're already doing, because I know this is going to be a great generation for PS5. Because they got the talent, because they got Sucker Punch, because they got Naughty Dog, because they got Guerrilla Games, because they got Insomniac, because they got Ben Studios and stuff like that, right? So it's not even like I'm on this whole I'm just completely unsatisfied and I'm always complaining. It's like, no, there's certain things that I'm more passionate about that you're gonna hear me vocalize more, right? And I know I've been annoying. Trust me, I'm very self-aware that that I appear to be a whiny little,
Hold on, Chris.
A whiny motherfucker that is always complaining every goddamn. Trust me, I'm fully self-aware about that, but that's because I love PlayStation. You know what I mean? It's like, to me, like when you criticize something the most, is because you love it the most and you want it.
Let me say this. Let me say this, right? Because the reason why this space exists right now is exclusively to call out the fanboys, as Brian was saying. I think it's about that time. You know what I'm saying? I think it's time to separate the wheat from the chaff. You know what I mean? There's a lot of weird shit going on in general, and just the fake outrage that's pissing me off. Your points notwithstanding, I agree with them. You know what I mean? Like, with all of these acquisitions that's going on and the consolidation of the market, what if someone scoops up Square Enix and Sony is fucked, you know what I mean? And they have to start from scratch anyway. You better do it now and get your shit in line. There is a market in Japan that could be utilized. Like, why give it all to Nintendo? Like, you can't just give up on that. And that's why I'm thinking, like, they didn't really give up on it. But let me say this so I can set the precedent and we can move on from this. As you all know, that there's a rumor, most likely it was true. I've been said this shit when Horizon first came out. Actually, there was videos about Horizon Zero Dawn having a co-op and they cut it out. So I've already been on this shit. This is the third game that I've actually, if this is to be true, that I've actually predicted or saw, that they were going to make one. I said it for Ghost of Tsushima. No one saw that coming. I don't know why. I did it for Returnal. No one saw that coming. It's documented too. I don't know why.
Like multiplayer?
Multiplayer, yep. And then this one. I feel like it's going to be more than a Monster Hunter to me. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a Monster Hunter / World of Warcraft. You know what I'm saying? Where you could dick around in there, and not just kill things. I think you could go to shops or do the horse racing and shit like that. I think it's going to be a meta type first thing. That's what I think it's going to be. And then you can see the systems like you were saying before. But I've been said this shit a long time ago. The multiplayer I know a lot of people don't have, but this situation is multifaceted. The one thing is this. Horizon always seems to get a lot of fucking hate from the PlayStation community, which is curious. All the time. It's boring. I don't feel like doing it. They're mid. Every time I see this shit, Horizon Zero Dawn or Horizon Forbidden West is always in the mid category for some fucking reason. You know what I'm saying? So it was extra vitriol when people heard that this was getting a remaster. But here's where it starts getting weird. I'm gonna start reading what I saw. Let's see here. Who wants to jump in here? Okay. I wrote some notes down. This is how much I wanted to kind of get my thoughts out online. When you hear PlayStation fanboys talk about how this isn't needed, and I'm not talking about you, Chris, or anyone else at the moment, but I'm talking about, you know, the ones that I'm talking about. When they say that make a Killzone again, y'all motherfuckers didn't want Killzone. Y'all picked Call of Duty when Killzone came out. You picked it over and over again, even with Shadowfall. Shadowfall's multiplayer was really good. Y'all still picked Call of Duty. I didn't want that shit. All right, fine. When y'all talk about Sony making new IPs and AAAs, and y'all like this shit, I don't want no AA games. That's what y'all said. You know what I'm saying? And there was a question if Returnal was a AA game in the first place and why they were charging $70. So Sony created a brand new IP and almost a new fucking genre, and y'all still didn't fucking buy it. I don't want to hear it anymore about what Sony is not doing. They are creating new IPs. You know what I'm saying? They are trying to cultivate their games, but you can't expect Sony to make a fucking AAA game for 5 fucking people. That's not going to work. You know?
Don't you consider Returnal a success for what it sold on a very low install base?
For Sony, it's like, okay, it's a new IP, because you got to think about it. Other new IPs did much better. You know, you got Days Gone, that slaughtered house.
Right, but that was on a way bigger install.
I know. I get that. I totally understand that. But usually when the console just comes out, usually within the first year, the attach rate is crazy. You know what I mean? No one has anything to really buy, so.
Yeah, even Nax sold 2 million when it first came out.
Josh, I just want to also just.
Nigga, did you cut me off? Did you cut me off? But
to Chris's point, Returnal was made by 20 people, and it sold 1.1 million copies. That is a success.
No, it is a success. On the back end, they got a profit off of this for sure. You know that Returnal is not like a $200 million game. We all know that. But it's the optics. You know what I'm saying? There's layered. Like I said, it's a multifaceted conversation. What I understand about these fake fanboys, and this is a weird spot with PlayStation, right? Where you got these fanboys that only want clout to say that my system is better than yours. You know what I mean? They don't play the exclusives, but they want to have it as ammunition to argue online. You know what I'm saying? So if a game doesn't get a 9.0, they ain't fucking with you. They're not fucking with it. They will disown it like the redhead stepchild that Aloy is. They will disown that bitch. You know what I'm saying? And that's a problem. I guarantee you, if they made the Last of Us Part 2 remastered, no one would really complain. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's the type of game that's going on, and then there's the fake outrage that's going on. There's like so many like little weird layers that's going on. There's certain games that can get a pass with remaster, you know, remaster shit. It's this game, and then you have the market right now, the journalists. No one knows what Sony is doing. Everyone jumped the gun and say, "Oh, this is going to be $70, isn't it?" What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't understand that, because name a remaster from Sony that they came out with in the past 2 years that was full $70 price. Spider-Man Remastered, when they finally decided to sell that separately, that was $40, right? You get it $20 if you got Miles Morales. The Uncharted collection, right, which are remastered, and it comes with two games, is $50. Or if you have one of the games, you can actually upgrade it and get both.
By the way, pause, Chris. Telly, you go after Chris, and then Shadow. Go on.
Yeah, and so we've seen that Sony has put out 2 remasters in the past 2 years, right? Actual official remasters, not director's cut, not anything like that, right? Because people will bring up Death Stranding, which Death Stranding was what, $50, the director's cut, or something like that, right? Or also Ghost of Tsushima, because the PS5 version was $70, but Ghost of Tsushima came with a whole new brand brand new expansion, and you didn't need to buy the PS5 version. Like me, I have the PS4 version, and I just paid $20 for the expansion, and I got the PS5 upgrade.
And it had the DLC
stuff,
too.
right?
It had the DLC
So
with a
there's
whole
no
new island.
indication that if this is a remaster, if this truly is a remaster, not a remake, right? Because the remake, they will have an excuse for it, right? But if this is a remaster, going off of Sony's other things in the past in terms of remastered, not remakes, they haven't charged full price $70 for it. So I don't believe it will be $70.
It won't be $70. That's the funny thing about it. We all know that it won't be $70, but the media ran with it because it's juicy. Anything negative when it comes to Sony, they're on it like flies on shit. Let me let what's his name talk before I go off the handle here. Telly, what's going on, man?
Can you come back to me, sorry?
All right. All right. Yo, Shadow, what you gotta say about this? Here we go. Rubbing my hands.
What?
You got some good, nice, nasty points. I like it.
I mean, when do I not? But no, seriously. So there's a lot of multimedia outlets confirming this remake, remaster of this game or whatever. So I was just joking up and down, various spaces and the timeline all day or whatever, because the shit was funny, because now all shade, all tea. Now all of a sudden, people don't really even want this remake or remaster to even happen. And it was just funny because, The Last of Us Part 1 had a whole remake, and the game, got released on 3 separate occasions. So I was just wondering, will really make this, why is this even different? You know what I'm saying? So it was just funny to me, first of all. So, do we need it? I guess for people who've already played it, no. But for people who didn't play it, I mean, I guess it's a good opportunity to play it if it interests you.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So that's all I was gonna say. A lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but a couple people.
The vocal,
really,
the loud minority. You know what I mean? The loud vocal, and you raise a great point, Shadow. Here's the thing. Fans, avid fans, right? Avid fans, right? That like PlayStation shit. Recognize that's a huge user base. Not everything that Sony is making is for you. It's not. They're not making everything for you. They have a huge.
So just to clarify. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're going. I was going to say they have a huge gamut of things they have to worry about. It's not just for you. Everything is not for you. Go on, man.
So just for reference basis, does this qualify as a cash grab?
I mean, but what doesn't though? You know what I'm saying? Like Nintendo could release these.
It depends on the effort and the quality of it.
Yeah, there's that.
Okay.
There's that. I mean, you said something earlier. It's like what wouldn't be a cash grab? It's like okay, so Grand Theft Auto.
Not everything is a cash grab.
Right.
Right.
The Grand Theft Auto collection, that remake or whatever the fuck they want to call it, that's a cash grab. That was low effort.
Piss poor.
That was piss poor.
I'll give you an example. Chrono Cross HD Remaster.
Cash
Terrible
grab.
port from Square Enix. Lazy port. Obviously, that's a crash grab because they didn't put effort into that. Same thing with Shin Megami Tensei 3 Remaster from Atlas. Terrible port, especially the audio. It's terrible. Lost 30 FPS, even on PlayStation. Those are lazy cash grabs and stuff like that. Spider-Man Remastered. I mean, technically, yes, everything is. They do everything for money, so everything is technically a cash grab or whatever. But there's things where, to me, it's like, well, they put enough effort into it to kind of warrant it. You know what I mean? They put enough effort into it.
And you make a good point, Chris.
I didn't feel like Spider-Man Remastered was needed, but clearly they wanted to completely change the character model of Peter Parker, so they decided to go with that anyways or whatever, right? But they put enough effort into it to feel like, okay, this is not just a simple up-res 4K 60 patch. Like, they actually reworked character models, they added new things and stuff like that. So.
And you know the funny thing is what you just said too earlier about Spider-Man, because you hear this a lot online, right? And let me know if you're available now, Telly. And then actually you may not be available. Let me just go to B Flesh.
Oh wait, can I finish saying one more thing? I know, I'm sorry. I just got to say one more thing real quick.
Mm.
So I mean, as you all know that I game on all three platforms, but my main platform is technically Xbox, then PlayStation, then Switch. So I mean, a couple of ponies, tried to, come for me earlier today, but they can't necessarily really come for me if I have more PS5 clips than you on your media page.
Talk to them, Shadow.
So, I do have an opinion. My opinion is very validated. So I just wanted to, throw that out there before anybody could ever speak on that.
Because you have a PS5 and you play games.
No, you play games across the board. I see your shit.
For Xbox a little more doesn't mean your PlayStation opinion is less valid because you still game and you still purchase. The same thing with the Switch, right? Like you said, you barely game on the Switch, but I know you have one, and I know you're gonna get that Bayonetta 3, and I know we're gonna talk about it.
And I play games on the Switch too. I have over 800 hours in Smash. I have over 600 hours in Bayonetta 3. I think I have over 500 hours in Fire Emblem Warriors, and that's my favorite game, honestly. But you know how Smash is. So.
And that's the thing too. Like what and I'll let Telly talk after this. Chris, you make a really good point about Spider-Man. The point of contention was, it just came out 5 years ago. Like, I mean, just came out, really? I don't know if that's just came out though. But like, regardless, nevertheless, they say it was last generation. But then Spider-Man was last generation, and it got multiple remaster. You know what I mean? It got a remaster. So like, why aren't people talking about that? Is very curious to me. I don't get it. Like I said before, this is just a way for people to just start bitching and try to get that moral high ground online. Telly, what you got to say about this?
What's up, yo? My bad, I'm a little preoccupied, but first I'd like to say, everyone should have an opinion. I'm not saying, people shouldn't have an opinion, but just as people have an opinion, I think it's fair that we can react to it. I don't want this to come across as a personal attack, just to anyone who may be listening, but I don't really get it. Like, okay, so Horizon was probably my third favorite game of the PS4 generation. I really like that game, really like the series. I'm waiting on the DLC to play the second one, which apparently is coming thanks to the leak. But so when I saw that it was going to be remastered, I said, okay, that's cool. It's not for me. I have no desire to replay the first Horizon. Played the fuck out of it. I feel like I got everything I wanted out of it and more. But I don't think it's like this great abomination that shouldn't exist on the other hand as well. Like, I don't see
people acting like it though.
It's not for me. Like, there's thousands of products in the world that aren't for me. I don't think that they should. Like, I don't understand why everyone's so upset.
It's
not for you. Just don't play it.
Because the narrative. The narrative is this, right? The narrative is that they want Sony to fall off so badly. That's what it is. It's a lot of people, including PlayStation fanboys, apparently, that just they want to see failure, and it's like
that's what I don't understand. And not to cut you off, but and also it seems to be coming from the hardcore Sony fans.
Mm-hmm.
If you're so emotionally attached to your video game box, why are you mad that they're making a game to make money and to fund other projects that you claim that you love so much? I just don't understand.
Now, Chris,
some people think that the resources spent on this existing is potentially taken away from other things, which we don't know. Nobody can say.
Yeah, like, what proof do they have?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Which we don't know, right?
Their emotions.
Yeah, we don't know, right? But it's like potentially taken away from like games that they feel is more needed for an uplift treatment or a remastered or something like that. So some people think of like, well, if they're doing a Horizon, then that means that they're never gonna do Bloodborne, which I don't believe that's the case at all, right? Well, they do a Horizon, so that means Bloodborne is never coming or anything like that. I don't think that's the case at all. It's just some people think that it's like, okay, you're gonna prioritize the remaster for this game that's only 5 years old and it has a 60 FPS patch. But there's other games that people have been asking for, you know, like Metal Gear Solid 4 from the 3 games and stuff like that. Obviously, that's not PlayStation, right? So, you know, and some of them feel like, yo, this is not something that's necessary. Like I said, to me, personally, I don't feel like this is necessary because I can play 60 FPS on my PS5. It's not like it's a game that's stuck on a PS3 like Demon Souls was. But I'm not going to be mad at its existence. I'm going to treat it like I did The Last of Us Part 1 remake, right? It's cool. I like the improvements of you know, from what I've seen. But I played The Last of Us 5 times already, right? I played The Last of Us 5 times already. And the story or anything like that isn't new to it in the remake. So to me, it's like I'm not buying it. I'm not purchasing the game and stuff like that. And I move on. I don't complain about its existence. I don't say, oh, this, you know, why, blah blah blah. Sony is creatively bankrupt, which I think is not fair to say because we're only 2 years.
Yeah, I've seen that like 10 times today.
Now I'm gonna say this.
But to me personally, I still stand on the ground. It's not needed because I can play it on my PS4. You know what I mean? Already.
But hold on, wait. Let me say this. I need to get everybody to get in there. So I'm gonna go to Flesh, and then Thrash, and then Puka. Go on, Thrash. Flesh. B Flesh.
Is that me? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to say 2 things. One, I'm like 90% sure this is going to end up costing $70, and the reason I say that is based off what we saw in the leak. It literally described every single thing that we got in The Last of Us Part 1. Like, that was exactly what the leak said. Every single update that's happening to this version of the game is exactly what we got for The Last of Us Part 1. And the second thing I want to say is I'm kind of glad they chose this game, because out of all the games, I feel like this one's going to bomb the hardest, and it will honestly, hopefully prevent them from doing this in the future with other games. Because there's no way this is going to sell more than 2 million copies.
I don't know about that. Yo, if it launches next to Tears of the Kingdom, yeah, that shit ain't.
Seeing their track record, I wouldn't be surprised.
So
Didn't they tag this as a remaster versus Last of Us?
Yeah, they did.
Talking about
They did, so...
because the Spider-Man remaster, if you're talking about like accessibility and
Yeah,
all that,
Spider-Man was what, $30?
Spider-Man remaster had all of that stuff as well too, and that was
No, because it also on top of the visual adjustments and the character models and stuff like that, it said new animations and like combat and gameplay changes.
that's not
listed in The Last of Us.
that's not accurate. That's not accurate. That's not accurate. For starters, here's the problem, right? For The Last of Us, they had to remake the assets from the PS3 version. That's number one. The PS3 version, which was lacking detail. So again, in terms of the stuff that's being leaked on there, I got ambient occlusion, new models, and accessibility. That's not a $70 product. I'm like 99% sure that it is. Thrash, go on.
The animations, so I'm assuming for like every cutscene they're gonna redo that.
But that's the thing, right? The animations, if you're talking about the bot, I mean, there's a sequel to it, and it's the same character. They could just import that animation in there and keep it moving. So, like, they already touched up on animations in the sequel. In terms of the facial expressions, I mean...
It was so easy, then why couldn't they have just done that with Part 1, with the Part 2 animations?
We don't even know what the product is to say that if it is or isn't.
I know we don't. I'm just saying in this theoretical that you've created, then technically with Part 1 they could have just done that with the Part 2 animations since they use the same character models for Joel and Ellie.
The animations are really similar anyway. Like, they're very, very similar. They adjusted it with the motion. I thought you were talking about The Last of Us. Which one are you talking about?
Oh no, sorry. I thought you were talking about
Last of Us 2 remake. I think the animations are kind of similar. I'm not too sure though.
They're very they used the motion. What is it? The flow motion or motion flow, whatever the case is. That smooth over the animations, but they're very similar. They're still basing it off of the original one for balance purposes. In terms of the animations, I don't think they're going to go ham on animations in terms of the facial stuff. I think what they're going to say is ambient occlusion, probably fix the water, probably fix the screen space reflections, fix the cloud system. They already had half of the fucking map rendered when you played Forbidden West in the beginning of the game. I mean, it's not too much that they need to do. in that particular case. But I'm gonna let Thrash talk here. Thrash, go on, man.
What's up, y'all? What's up, niggas?
You good?
Let me see.
COVID?
Let me see. Nah, I ain't sick. I ain't got COVID. I gotta, you know how you gotta sleep before you work the night shift. Shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm getting that right now. But it's a sad day. It's a sad day. When gamers from all corners of gamerdom are complaining about actual games. I'm just so lost. In a year where Sony dropped, what, 5 AAA PlayStation games without counting God of War. And motherfuckers is complaining about Horizon? We just got Horizon Forbidden West 2 or whatever, Horizon 2, Forbidden West, whatever. Go play that shit. Look, this shit ain't for you to buy. Not everything is about you. They took care of all of us this year more than any other platform. PC, cell phones, Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation has taken care of all of you niggas very early in the generation. We are 2 years in, sitting on a God of War, sitting on Horizon, sitting on Ratchet and Clank. And what, one year out, 1 year before that, they gave us Ghost of Tsushima.
And a new IP.
The Last of Us 2.
And a new IP. And the Returnal.
These projects that you're mentioning, these were all greenlit by previous management. We don't know what it looks like.
Listen. You couldn't stay in a gamer space, bro. Like, be a gamer. You don't gotta work for Sony. You don't gotta tell them how to do their job. They have been doing their job perfectly fine, all the way up until whenever. Because
they're perfect, and there's no room for improvement at all or criticism.
No. There's no such thing as a perfect person. But I implore you to tell me, and I'll sit silent and let you answer. Who did better?
Anybody talking about this year?
This generation, launching this shit, who did better?
Launching. If you're talking about as far as
all the way up until now,
between Xbox and PlayStation
and Nintendo. Yeah, who did better?
Nintendo had Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 2, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in the first year of the Switch.
And where the PlayStation at? They had
Ratchet and Clank, but I would take the Nintendo games over those.
No, I'm not asking for your opinion. I'm asking who did better. They gave you Demon Souls, they gave you Astro Bot, they gave you Sackboy, then they turned around and
who did better is subjective because people can say Breath of the Wild is better than all those games.
I'm not saying what game is better. I'm saying who did better, not what.
But that is subjective, though.
But that's extremely subjective. Why are you asking this like there's an objective answer?
For instance, okay, we're gamers. Like I said in the beginning, we're gamers, right? So we receive games. Not everybody here is going to like the same game, but who's outputting these games more in the first 2 years of the launch of the console? You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't never seen Sony launch all these big-time mega hits that look like the best shit you've ever seen in gaming. When you saw Demon Souls, that was one of the best-looking fucking games you've seen, and that was the day one of the generation. And then Horizon comes out and slaps that shit around like it's nothing. Ratchet and Clank comes out and slaps shit around. It's like, what the fuck? Don't even what are y'all complaining about? For real. Sony can do anything they want. If you didn't know, if you haven't been paying attention, the original teams did not make The Last of Us remake. And if this rumor is true, I believe that's the same thing that's going to go on. They are training new developers to be up to snuff to what PlayStation wants out of their fucking AAA games. If y'all haven't been paying attention, that's what they've been doing. But y'all too busy worrying about shit. Fuck, they're giving you God of War in less than a month, or in a month. No, almost a month and a couple days. And we sitting here complaining about somebody's fucking Horizon? For what? Like, what's wrong with you niggas?
I want to say this too. Hold on, wait, hold on. Not even just that. Yes, it is subjective in terms of like the games that you mentioned, Chris. With the exception of Breath of the Wild, I'm not interested in. That doesn't win me over. I'm not going to buy that console.
That's what I said.
I know, but hold on. Let me finish my thought. Let me finish my thought because you brought it up there, and the way that you said it as if it was better, and it's subjective. You list all those particular games. Sony was consistent for year 1 and 2 for this console, not just having a launch for a brand new console. The next year was trying to top the first year, which is fine. You subjective all you want, right? And then this talk about, oh, Jim Ryan is the guy that's changing the face of this. Then y'all hear, aren't y'all gaming? Okay, so if you claim that you're gaming, you're in the gaming space, then you will already know that Sean Layton already wanted this to happen. He already wanted this to happen.
I mean,
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. I mean, you
when I said the whole thing about Nintendo, like, well, I'm saying that as a definitive, but Thrash was saying that as a definitive.
no, he was talking about the out. He was talking. No. He was talking about the output. He was talking about the output. He
I
was.
said the companies. I'm not talking about the games. The games are subjective, but what's not subjective is the output of these companies. How many games did they put out? That's what I'm talking about.
But that doesn't matter. What matters is the quality and the quantity. You can't
The
just
quality, all these games that they.
Because then you'll say every Nintendo game is trash because it doesn't meet the quality of PlayStation shit because of the power. That don't make sense. It's
But if Microsoft released checkers, chess, Uno,
But that's not. But well, hold on, B. That's not what Sony did. Sony didn't do no.
Last year, they won Metacritic Publisher of the Year, but Microsoft had a
Hold on. Now we know. Like,
because they didn't include Shaq Fu and that other game that got like 36 on Metacritic for some magical reason. That's the fuck why they got that shit. They only counted the very few games that they put out that had a high score.
but hold on. Wait, Thrash. Hold on, Chris.
I think that the PS5 first 2 years is better than the PS4's first 2 years.
It is by far.
The PS3's first 2 years.
They didn't have shit.
It's not better than the PS2's first 2 years.
No, but hold on, Chris. The PS2 was third party people. Anyway.
I'm also
I know, but when it comes to Sony shit, and that's what the thing you're.
but I'm including the third party exclusive.
I know, but they didn't. But I'm not. But we're not though. But we're Chris, we're not talking about third party. That's not what the thing is. The going.
Nintendo,
It still plays into their large lineup. They're making the deals with the third party for these exclusive games.
Well, the conversation.
But you said earlier. I want Sony. You said earlier. I want Sony to make their own games and stuff like that. They've been making deals with third parties.
As a whole, right? Everybody always likes to limit to just first party, right? Everybody always limits.
That's what this conversation is about, though.
I think they can help you.
No, but that's what this conversation is. That's what this conversation is about. You mentioned but hold on, wait, because I'm trying to say this and conduct this shit. That's what this conversation was about. Because we had multiple conversations, Chris, and about how you said that Sony doesn't want to fund Japanese games and stuff like that. So we're not counting third party at that point. Since you mentioned that, we don't count third party.
Right, but that is a different discussion than. Even though, like I said, PS5 has had one of the best 2-year release launch window, right? In my personal opinion, because it's not just Returnal, Demon Souls, Miles Morales, but you had the other games I was throwing in there, like Kenna. To me, like I'll add up. But if you wanna exit that, then yeah, you know what I mean. As far as like which company had a better first year, obviously that's subjective. So some people may like Breath of the Wild, Splatoon way better than they like Returnal or Ratchet and Clank. So to them, Nintendo may have the better first year and stuff like that. As far as this year, nobody beat
Breath of the Wild.
Nintendo has put out 8 first party games this year, and that's not even including the third party exclusive. So we're talking about this year. Nintendo has had the most consistent and best output out of the big 3. But if you're limited to just launch and the Switch is launched, then you can argue that the PS5 or may had a better,
If I wanted to counter that point, I would just say VR, walk the fuck off and have a cup of orange juice. It's not a competition about
how many first party VR games came out this year for PlayStation.
That's what I'm saying. I don't need to. Like I said, if you want to go third party, I can definitely go third party. But I'm not. Why? Because that's the conversation. What I'm saying is, people are complaining about these remasters when remasters and remakes are a staple of gaming since the fucking PS3 days. Period. Yeah. We've had every fucking everything from Sly Cooper to God of War to Ratchet and Clank to all these motherfuckers, fucking Gears of War, Halo, all the fucking Halos, Zeldas, all these Zeldas, $60 Zeldas that's just a fucking HD remaster on a console that can't really do HD, up to date HD. Nobody says shit. The only reason people are saying shit now today is because it's PlayStation. All I'm saying is,
because historically, what remakes bring to the table is either a performance increase or you're able to play it on the newest generation of consoles.
Before you, hold on, wait. I'm sorry. We got somebody. Hold on, B. Puka, go on.
Y'all so fucking weird, though. Like, you want to be angry. You just an angry nigga. Right? If you play video games more, you would be less angry.
Puka.
Why are you so worried? Don't buy Horizon. That's the
no. No, but here's the thing.
What do you play?
What do I play? I just finished The Last of Us Part 1, and now I'm regretting it because I feel like I'm promoting this activity. What I'm talking about is the precedent this sets. No matter what you want to call Horizon, it doesn't matter, because if this sells well, which I hope to God it doesn't, you don't know how that's going to impact the future of game development and how many people are going to allocate to Ghost of Tsushima 1 remake, God of War 1 remake, and all these remakes are going to be remade.
It's going to happen. Hold on, Thrash. Puka, go on. My bad. You've been trying to get in there the whole time. Puka, go on. And then we can have a discourse here. Yo, Puka.
Oh shit! I ain't gonna let you niggas keep arguing. Yeah, man, I ain't gonna hold you, man. I gotta agree with Buddy, man. I don't know who this guy is who's talking, but what happens is these companies, they see, that you can spend less money and get a pretty good output, and so it's like I don't know why the story isn't important to y'all, to people, man. Like, it's dope. I mean, a remake of a game is cool and all. But if I already know what the fuck is gonna happen, it takes a little away from me. I'm really focused on stories, and I like to be surprised, and I like to hear the story for the first time and shit like that. So remakes and remasters don't really call to me. But the problem is, like my man is saying, that not now, but look, maybe 5 years into the future, when instead of getting, I don't know, 7 new IPs or 7 new sequels and IPs, we might get 5 and more remasters, because the way the industry's going. And that's not a PlayStation thing, not an Xbox thing, it's an industry thing. And if you're the type of gamer who says fuck backwards compatibility, fuck old games, fuck remasters, this is not something that you want. And I see why people have this Debbie Downer look about it. So I agree with Buddy.
Well, it's hyper burning, whatever you call that shit. Because, for example, Mario Kart got remastered for the Switch, right? It's one of the best-selling games on the Switch. Is anybody worried that Nintendo was going to stop making games to have nothing but remasters? Absolutely not. Gears of War Ultimate, one of the best-selling games on the Xbox One. It was a remasters of Gears of War 1. Was anybody fucking tripping off of that? Nope. God of War remastered 1 and 2 got put on the PS3, sold like hotcakes. Did anybody fucking complain?
So I think what we're looking at though is Sony's ability, or I don't call it ability, their tendency to move in the market as they need to.
Wait, Puka. Don't you get? Hold on, wait, Puka. Hold on, Puka. Hold on, Puka. Don't you buy Madden every year?
I'm not sure why everybody comes at me like that. Every time I talk about a video game, motherfuckers tell me I love Madden.
No, I'm just saying. I just want to put things into context. If you buying Madden every year, you know what it is. We all know what Madden is. 2K, the show, all them shits.
For $70, that's what that is.
We don't want that out of Sony. We know what Madden is. We don't.
We don't want that out of Sony, but Sony has been already doing this. Already been doing this. See, here's the problem. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. I'm gonna let Thresh talk. Hold on. I'm gonna let Thresh talk after this. Here's the thing, right? And then Telly. B Flesh. You're saying that I don't want this to happen. There's no proof to say that it is, and you're getting the games already. You're getting Ragnarok this year. You've already gotten Forbidden West this year, and then the best thing that you can say is, "Oh, the leadership has changed." Jim Ryan is not the only fucking leader. I don't understand where this is coming from. And on top of it, yeah, you're going to get more remakes and remasters. It's going to happen for every fucking company, but guess what? It ain't for you. And they haven't done anything that you should be concerned with at this moment.
Let me say something real quick, right? Because I've always been vocal about how I want more remasters and remakes, right? I'd rather take remasters and remakes than just original ports of the game. You know what I mean? Personally, right? So I bought Skyward Sword remastered day one. I bought, Demon Souls remake, right? Day one and stuff like that, right? But this is how I feel about it, right? I want more remakes and remasters for games that I can't play on my current platforms, and they're stuck either on PS3 or they're stuck on Game Boy Advance, or you know what I mean? They're just not available for me to play, and not available at a good performance neither, right? Like Bloodborne and stuff like that. If people are telling me it's like, yo, it's not a simple patch for Bloodborne, they actually have to redo codes and shit like that to make it run. Fuck it, do it remastered or whatever, right? So we were like Skyward Sword, which I gotta correct some people because people did complain about Skyward Sword that it was $10 more than the Wii version. People constantly.
I'm saying nobody said that Nintendo was going to start making nothing but remakes.
Oh yeah, of course, that right. But I'm just saying people still complain. I think the better example will be Persona 5, right? Because you have Persona 5. You have Persona 5 Royal. It was re-released at $60. It did come with extra content and stuff like that, better quality of life. But now they're re-releasing Persona 5 Royal again on PS5 for $60 again, and you can play that on your PS5 right now.
I don't see why y'all don't see what the concern is, man. I think y'all are just pretending not to understand what I'm saying.
No, we understand it, but there's no concern of it. Hold on. One thing.
Like six years ago,
that are available on the current platform and that I can already play at a good.
I understand it, Chris, but a couple years ago that you didn't think Sony was going to start with this whole games as a service shit and microtransactions, because we were saying, hey, we don't want that shit, and Sony was like, hey, that's money, so that's what the fuck we're going to do. And so Sony has shown the capability to pivot in the market and do what the fuck they want to do to make some money.
Did they stop? Puka, did they
continue to pivot and go with the money and give us
hold on, but did they stop though? But did they stop though?
Such a simple equation. Who the fuck is this nigga? What do you mean pivot? I don't understand. Like, what's this remaster going to make Sony pivot if remasters have been happening for decades?
Because this one takes substantially less work than their previous remasters. So if this stuff's good, then they realize they can make a lot of profit off a little bit of work.
Yeah.
What is the pivot that you guys are talking about? This is a staple in gaming. This is why I say, how long have y'all been gaming? This is a staple. Almost every big name game has a remaster in some way, shape, or form.
Let me let and I'll let you go. Let me let Telly. He had his hand up.
Okay. So I just want to make a few points, and I understand why you had to move away from me. Resident Evil 4, right? One of my all-time favorite games. I bought it on the GameCube. I bought it on the Wii. I bought it on the PS2. I'm gonna buy it again when it comes to PS5, right? Games you remastered 1,000 times. No one cries or complains about it. Secondly, and I understand we all have opinions, as we should, and people should be allowed to react to them. A few talking points. I've only been coming to spaces and shit since like May. Since then, I've heard Sony completely doesn't know how to market God of War Ragnarok. They're dropping the ball. It's going to be terrible. The game's going to flop. The game's developmental hell. Trailer came out a couple weeks ago. For all types of records, it looks amazing, right? I've heard, oh my God, Sony has completely abandoned Japan. What are they doing? They destroyed my childhood. That a Japanese-focused state of play. Everyone shut up about that. People say, oh my God, Sony doesn't make multiplayer games. What are you doing? They mentioned, well, hey, guess what, motherfuckers? We're gonna make all these games as a service games, and people complain about that. So, like I said, we all care. We all have emotional connections, but maybe they know how to run the corporation better than us. Just saying.
I can run it better than them. No, I'm joking. I don't know. No, I'm just.
No, I can see where Chris. I can see what Chris is talking about, right? Because he's not really talking about that per se. See, what Flesher is talking about is it's some concept of Sony doing something that they haven't done in 27 years. They've never done it.
Yeah, but as Thrash said, remakes are a part of the game since forever. So why is this the downfall of one of the giants of the industry? That's Skyrim, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
But I love Zelda games. I played Breath of the Wild on Wii U, and I played it on Switch. It wasn't the downfall of Nintendo.
Same here. I played on GameCube, Wii U, all
You know what I'm saying?
like,
Or Capcom. Or Capcom.
I think that the word downfall, you guys make that such a negative word. I don't think that's what he's saying. I think he's saying. I think it could result in less. So what happens is instead of getting 7 new fucking games, you'll get 5 and then 5 more remastered.
How could you ever prove where you played that? Like, how do you know what games they're making on that they canceled that no one ever heard about?
No. So you don't. I mean, I think this is obviously I can't prove either way, right? So I think that's I can't prove it either way, but it makes sense though, doesn't that?
No, it doesn't make sense.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, and that's why I agree with listeners. Like, we still gotta wait, right? We still gotta wait, and we don't know because what King guys said was like Skyward Sword, right? Skyward Sword HD remaster came out last year, right? And it was kind of a little bit of dry year for Nintendo, or whatever, right? But then this year. They released 7 to 8 new first party. None of them are remasters. None of them are remakes. But they released 7 to 8 first party games. I'm not even talking about like the third party exclusive, right? So we have an instance where like Nintendo still makes Mario Kart Deluxe U, Mario, Skyward Sword Remastered or some shit like that. But they put out way more newer games than they do remasters. You know what I mean? And I think that's what they're saying is like, yeah, Sony will come out with these games, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to get a bunch of new games.
Chris, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Chris. Let me ask you.
I agree, Chris, but it also means you're not going to get as many.
Well, hold on, wait. We don't know what Sony and how they're dividing their workload. Let me ask you. Those games that you mentioned from Nintendo, do they cost $200 million to make a piece?
No, they don't.
Oh, okay. The thing is, it's a lot more. No, it does, but it does. No. Wait, hold on, wait, Chris. Hold on, wait. Yo, Chris, wait. Hold on.
No, I'm agreeing with the notion that just because Sony is making remasters doesn't mean we're gonna get.
No. My thing is this. You mentioned about the numbers. You said 8, right? These games are getting what Sony's doing and what regular fucking publishers and developers are doing. That's not Nintendo. That don't rely on art styles and simplistic gameplay. It's $200 million to make these things. It is getting less. You're right, but it has nothing to do with remasters. It's you need more time to make these games. They're way bigger than what they were. But I'm saying like what Puka was saying. He's like, oh, well, we're going to get these remasters more than what we get the game. Listen, it's going to happen regardless if they did it or not.
That's bullshit talk to begin with.
That doesn't mean it can't compound the problem. So, for example, if you have...
Are you a developer? Do you know what's good? Do we work for Sony? Do you work for Sony?
Just say one thing. I don't have to be a developer to know if you put some people on a project that will take them off what they could have worked on, which could be...
They just acquired other developers to help out with the workload. So what about that? Did you factor that in yet? Or no?
No, that's money they could have put towards developers that could have helped on a new game.
Well, guess what happened? Guess what happened? When they're making one title and they need to make another one back to back, what happens with the other people? Like sometimes if they don't have they can't work on anything. Sometimes they're working on one particular thing, and there's developers that's idle waiting for fucking work.
Based on Guerrilla Game Studios and how many projects they're working on, I'm sure those developers could be working on another.
You don't know what project they're working on. You don't work for them. You don't know what projects you're working on.
Hold on. Let me say something because he's so off. I don't think y'all know. Like I said, the people who made The Last of Us were new developers. Were developers that were not part of the main team at all. They were basically using this shit as training and learning how to use the engine. If this rumor is true, remember, it's a rumor. So there's no reason to get your fucking boxers wet, my nigga. It's just a rumor. But if it is a rumor, then did you notice how many people Guerrilla Games have just hired? They just put out something on a tweet not too long ago about how much they are hiring. If this is true, might just be these guys learning how to use the Decima engine and put it out on the market.
Then why would they sell that to us?
They thought it was
Why would they sell that to us for a premium?
Let me finish.
Shell shock now.
Hold on. Sony has been doing this practice all this generation. They bought development teams to cover things that they don't want their main developers to have to stop and do. That way, like with Nixus, now they're the ones that are making the PC ports of video games, my nigga. They got they bought one team and they just put them part of XDev. Nixus is also putting games on VR. Like they are making it to where that the main people who make these big titles, can focus on making the big titles and have the freedom to make what they want. But they are hiring to get other people to help, push other ideas out that they won't have time to do. So they're not taking away from the developer time of the game that they can make. Everybody has been putting out so many
Thrash. He's talking about budget. They could have put that money somewhere else.
They could put that money towards anything. They don't have to put that money towards a remake.
You are a gamer. Budget is not your fucking problem. It's not.
I'm not saying it is, but when it comes to these companies, I want to see them.
Let me finish. Your problem is buying these games. If you got $30, $29 through $70 to buy a game that you want, then that is the budget that you fucking worry about. Do not worry about. Are you worried about Microsoft's budget on buying Activision or Bethesda?
Of course I am. I don't want them spending I don't want them spending all of their budget on a single publisher. If that was all the money they had,
you shouldn't be, because these games cost millions of dollars. So how do you balance what money goes to what game and what idea? When you do that, you stop the creative abilities of these motherfucking development teams. Let these developers decide what budget they're going to spend on what, so they can have the freedom to make what the fuck they want. Because just like that nigga Josh said earlier, you're not a developer. I'm not a developer. And none of us can tell these developers what to make, when, where, and how. When we get into that point, we are no longer acting like gamers. We're acting like we're a developer or execs who know how to spend the money.
Shareholders.
Can I ask a quick question? So what about the millions of people who bought a PS5, who haven't played Zero Dawn, and will get to play a superior version for $30-$40? So fuck them, is what we're saying? That's what these niggas are saying. I mean, that's what remasters were always all about.
Oh yeah, because playing the 60 FPS 4K version of it that's already out would be a travesty. Like no one would want to play that shit. That's so old. Holy shit. It's hard to look at.
No one said it was hard. No one said it was hard to look at.
You know what? Why did you? Wait, hold on. I'm gonna let Silky go after this.
For the first time, won't know the difference.
I'm gonna let Silky go before this, but I'm gonna ask you this: why the fuck did you buy The Last of Us Part 1 if it didn't look that much different? Why'd you buy that game then? If you're so opposed to it, if you're so opposed to remakes and remasters, why the fuck did you buy that game?
Because
because you wanted it. That's because you wanted it.
So what if I have Undying Light for Horizon?
Then you can buy. My problem is that you wanting to play it. No, my problem is that you wanting to play it.
There, I want. Look. When the Horizon comes, anybody that knows me know that I love Horizon series and Guerrilla Games.
They're
No, but I'm saying this. You're saying, oh, I hope it fails and shit like that because of what you want. But because of what you want, you got your Last of Us Part 1. I didn't get my game. I didn't get my game. You got your Last of Us. I didn't get my game. So fuck me because you got your shit. Now you want to White Knight this shit? I want a remake. I want a remake. I want a 4K version. I want a 4K version.
If I could go back in time and stop them from creating the Last of Us Part 1, I would. I don't think.
No, you can't. You can't say that no more. You can't say that no more because I know that you're full of shit. I know that you're full of it. Take this shit like what Thrash said. Take it back. You shouldn't have bought it in the first place if you were vehemently fucking opposed to this shit. You should have bought
Oh
it.
shit! Yeah, I'm regretting it now because I see I've influenced them to do this.
They were always going to do it. There were always going to be remakes.
The remake Horizon Zero Dawn. You did that. Sure. What the fuck?
No, I was part of the trouble. I was part of it. Me and other people did it.
Like remakes have been getting done forever, bro. Just because they're the
This is old. This is old.
Also, they have the TV show coming out, which I'm sure it's going to market. It's going to correspond. I think the decision to cross market your products and spend millions of dollars on. Terrible.
Personally, I believe this rumor, but say this rumor is true, right? I personally believe it, right? But say it is true, right? I'm pretty sure the decision to make this was made a while ago, not because people started buying the Last of Us 2 and now they want to do Horizon or whatever. I'm pretty sure the decision for Horizon was probably made a while ago to remaster it and stuff like that.
Well, Chris, these are the same things who claim them bitching about The Last of Us Part 1 is why they cut that 10-minute trailer. I'm a video editor. 10-minute trailer took weeks at the minimum to make. But everyone complaining for 2 days, make a 10-minute trailer to put out to show us how good The Last of Us Part 1. Come on. I love video games too. I'm not influencing the industry with my tweets and the things I say in space. It's like, stop.
Hold on, wait, Silky, hold on, wait, Silky, he's been waiting. Go on, Silky.
Yo, what's good? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you sound a little low though. I think it's because of the console you choose. But go ahead.
Man, I was coming in here, man, just chilling. No, but not on some console war shit. I think what it is just fatigue. And what I mean by that is how many director's cuts PlayStation already put out, and then 3 remakes, right? This will make the 3rd remake in 2 years, correct? Well, whenever it comes out, it'll be 3rd remake in that time, plus all the director's cuts. So I think that's where you get a little bit of fatigue. I don't think there's anyone else that have done that.
I don't understand fatigue.
If you fatigue, can't you simply ignore it? Okay, so I love my music, right? When my favorite album comes on and I don't want to hear it, guess what I do? I go to the next album on my iTunes.
Yeah, but
Sony is a large Sony.
If your favorite R&B album, and they're like, "Yo, we remixed it," and they put that out, then your favorite rapper came out, was like, "Yo, remixed last shit, I didn't put that out." You're like, "What the fuck is the industry doing, man? I want some new shit."
Sony is a large publisher. Okay, and they have a lot of they have a lot of IPs. They have a lot of IPs. So if it looks crazy, it's probably because they have so many fucking games.
Well, all right. So I'll go down the list just off the top of my head. I just finished shaving. Like,
No. I just want to know fatigue real quick.
Yeah, no, I got you, Thrash. So I'll go down the list. Y'all got a Spider-Man like director's cut, right?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all got
remaster.
Remaster. Yeah, y'all got that. Y'all got what is that? Walking Sim by what's
Death Stranding director's cut.
Death Stranding director's cut.
Okay.
Y'all got.
I think it's a masterpiece, by the way.
It can be as good as it is, but y'all got like 5 director's cuts, like the Ghost of Tsushima director's cut that came with Iki Island and all that. You have a bunch of director's cuts, and then on top of that, 3 remakes. And it's not a knock. I mean, y'all got games to play, bro. I'm like, hey, do your shit. Like, so that's why I just said I just think it's fatigue. I think it's people going.
No, I think what it boils down. Hold on, wait. I think it boils down to fucking people being selfish and and doing this fake outrage shit because they do have a PC market to tend to as well. They got a lot of people. They got a lot of people that they're going to contend with. This in general. Now I want to say this too, right? Because this is the reason why. Okay, so Chris jumped in here, and this is not Chris's issue. Chris is like, yo, there's an untapped market for a lot of Japanese games, and he feels that they should be putting in work in the Japanese market instead of focusing on Western development. And now that's the sentiment to a lot that a lot of people are saying.
Instead, in addition.
In addition to.
Yeah, in addition to, not
So
instead.
what do you mean by that? Like, do you think they should open? Are you saying they should open a Japanese development studios and do it that way? Because Sony is a Japanese company, so every game they put out is Japanese. But
No, that's not true.
Hey,
Naughty Dog.
who owns Sony? Who owns? Okay,
And
name
Insomniac,
game.
well, just
Name
because
the
they
game.
own them,
Insomniac is owned by a Japanese company.
right? But just because they're owned by one doesn't make that particular company Japanese, right? And their Japanese games have a certain flair, and you know, right? They have a certain flair and style to them.
Hey,
And
Thrash,
Thrash,
that's like trying to call a Dodge a foreign because it's owned by Fiat. Like,
So Resident Evil isn't a Japanese game.
Yes, Resident Evil is because it's made by Capcom.
Well, what's the difference between Resident Evil and The Last of Us? As far as flair and style. This is what I,
besides Last of Us getting better?
Like an anime storyline. Like Resident Evil is actually way more anime than people.
well, you mean to tell me mushrooms taking over your...
They got
All right, man.
they
That's presenting a more cinematic, more emotional... You know, who first started the zombie shit was Americans. With the fucking Walking Dead and shit, eating your brains. Same exact fucking shit. But that's a Japanese
just the
company.
people who started the open
I'm
world.
saying, you don't call that game an American game because it has American folklore or whatever the fuck on it? No. It's made by a Japanese company.
I mean-
Whether you like it or not,
No, it's not made by
Japanese games.
Well, here's the thing. Here, I get what you said. Look, I'm gonna call that out. I'm gonna call that out. That's gonna be.
Gymnastics was that.
mentality of what technically Sony is a Japanese, so all of their games are That's not true at all. Just
It's a
because they're technically
Japanese company who paid for these games.
doesn't
It's
make
a Japanese game.
no.
Oh,
Y'all give me an example, right?
Go ahead.
Nintendo literally owns Japanese companies that make Japanese style. Sony does too, right? They have two. They have Gran Turismo, Felicity Digital, right? And they also now they have what's the Astrobot?
Asobi.
Asobi, right? Team Asobi and stuff like that, right? So what we're talking about, for example, like with Nintendo, right? They'll come out with Xenoblade Chronicles, which is a JRPG, a Japanese RPG. Naughty Dog isn't doing a Japanese RPG, and Insomniac isn't doing a Japanese RPG.
So then say a Japanese RPG.
Yeah, Japanese role-playing games or more of those quirky Japanese style
So you
games.
say you want an RPG. Don't say that you want Japanese games from a Japanese company. Like, whether you like it or not, these are all Japanese games, man. I can't see why we gotta...
So Last of Us 2 is a Japanese game.
The Last of Us 2 is a Japanese game. It's like Resident Evil 2 is a Japanese game.
No. I do not subscribe.
I will say this. So wait. Instead of wait.
I can tell you right now, 99% of the people in this space disagree with you.
So I'm gonna say this. Hold on. Wait. I'm gonna say this. Hold on.
That's a flawed logic of.
I don't care if people disagree with me or not. I'm just talking about the fact.
But let's just
Sony is a Japanese company, and every game that they pay for, publish and put out are Japanese.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this.
Okay, so Death Stranding isn't Japanese, even though it has an American star in it speaking English.
Death Stranding is, but not Last of Us.
Why is Death Stranding a Japanese game when it's an American superstar? Okay, here's a question. Microsoft now owns Japanese studio under Bethesda. So does that mean Microsoft is no longer capable of creating Japanese games since they're Japanese developers owned by them? Japanese developer is an American developer now. They are owned by an American company. That's not how that works.
Wait. Hold on. Wait. Yo, I'm trying. Yo, please don't. I don't want to mute people. God darn it. All I'm saying is this: the semantics that we're doing here is it doesn't matter. What Chris is wanting is JRPGs essentially.
That's what I'm saying. That's what you should say. Call it the genre that you want. You can't say Sony has abandoned Japanese gamers or Japanese gaming when their console is readily available in Japan. When their games are readily available in Japan. Japanese people play and enjoy The Last of Us. Japanese people play and enjoy RPG games and whatever game.
In Japan.
So okay, so screw the semantics. So screw the semantics. You want those type of Japanese games. And the thing that I'm trying to mention And this is your point. We don't know what they're doing. We already understand it. We understood that we don't know what Sony's doing behind the scenes. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But how they're moving, it seems like they're not invested in it. But at the same time, this is the point that I have an issue with you, Chris, is that no, they're not making the games, but they're getting other people to make it and securing deals. So your thing is like, I want Sony to do it.
And I know that, but that's the whole thing. That's the whole situation. Was like, well, then why did they need to make live service games if they already have live service games coming to their platform from third party, and they can just get them as exclusive?
They're not getting their money. They're not getting live service money like that. They want their own live service where they get 100% of the profit.
Right. There you go.
So here's the thing. This is the problem. They tore down Japan studios. And now they're asking them to hire. They're trying to build them back up from scratch. So there's no one there to make a JRPG unless you want Naughty Dog or someone else to make it, which you don't want. I can clearly tell that. Then there'll really be a Japanese company that you're fighting against.
If Naughty Dog makes a JRPG, then I'll 100% agree with Thrash.
Oh, would that make Naughty Dog all of a sudden Japanese?
No, it wouldn't. I'm just saying that as a joke, right? But no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I remember Herman Ho saying that they want to expand in key markets, right? Japan has obviously.
There's a lot of people in Japan that they could make a lot of money.
Expansions have been in Europe and North America. When we've seen the Yakuza dev leave Sega to start his own company, we've seen the Silent Hill creator, which used to work at Sony, right? He started, his own company, and some of those in Suda 51 was swooped up by Tencent. You know what I mean? So there was plenty of opportunities. In my opinion,
they don't want to work for Sony, but those people that you mentioned, they don't want to work for Sony again like that and then get fired. See, the thing is this, right? I don't think you see. This is the thing that I don't like about the media. You didn't hear, and this is what's the guy, the Zuby dude? Fucking Team Asobi is hiring for more people, but nobody says anything about that shit.
Yes, I've been saying that since last year that Sony has hired Kichiro Iwata, right, who was the ex-CEO at Capcom, who actually had a pretty good help in one hand while bringing the Japanese exclusive to the Xbox 360. He was his hire last year, and so was Len Tao, who's also in charge of like inorganic growth and acquisitions over there in Japan, right? So there's definitely things in the background and stuff like that, but all of their public moves that they've done has all favored either European or American. Like all of the developers that they acquire have been European and American VR, mobile live service titles and stuff like that. So to me, I'm looking at that. Wow, Herman Holt said last year, we still care about our Japanese market. We still care about this, that, and the third. And it's like, okay, why are you expanding everywhere else besides your home territory?
Well, because that's the strength. And you, again, I don't know who's scratching something. Who's scratching something?
I think that's Thrash's mic.
Is that mine? I know water running.
I think that's Thrash's mic.
There's water running my fault.
I was like, who the hell is scratching shit? No, so, but this shit never goes on. This shit never goes to public, and I get it. The big games that they're buying is very Western centric. You know what I mean? But again, Chris, they have to appease shareholders. A shareholder is going to look at them sideways if they start buying Japanese developers, knowing that they don't have a foothold in Japan. They be like, "What the fuck are you doing? I'm not going to invest in you, and you doing this. You wasting fucking money." So on the back end, they still got to curate. They're building this team from the ground up. They're not acquiring a whole fucking team, that already exists. They're building this shit from the ground up. And just wait. We just need to kind of like wait and stop jumping the gun. Like what Flesher was saying. Oh, it's going to guarantee $70. We don't fucking know that shit. And it's not, though. But we don't know it. To jump the gun and say that and get your knickers in a twist for something that you don't even know, it's like it's ridiculous to me. It's you don't even know. We don't even know what the fuck is 2023. We have no idea what's going on with that other than Spider-Man.
That thing that we really can't complain about nothing at all. Because we don't really know.
You shouldn't be complaining about it. Sit down. Wait. Sit like your mom would tell you. Like your mom would tell you. Focus on your own plate. Eat the food that I'm putting out in front of you right now. Like eat that. Why you worry about what somebody else have or what's in the refrigerator for? Worry about this year. We got Ragnarok coming in 30 days?
Man, niggas complaining about a 7-year-old game. It's like, what the fuck is wrong? That's what I'm saying. There's something wrong. It's like outrage culture is just out.
That's the point. That's the point. I'm not, and that's the thing. I'm not Chris. I'm not, and Chris, I'm going to say this right because this is what we definitely see eye to eye on this one, and so is a Thresh. No company is infallible at all. We get that. Sony's made a lot of fucked up things. I don't feel like going into it. Nintendo did their dirt. Microsoft did their dirt. All of them did their dirt. We get that. But at the same time, this is weird fucking culture that wants to complain about every fucking thing for a fucking click. They click dancing for clicks out on this bitch. I don't think they're really concerned.
The Activision Blizzard shit, like you got all these types of journalists that's supposed to be neutral and they're supposed to be actual journalists and be objective about things, and they're clearly showing their bias shit and complaining about and making a bunch of false equivalencies, like, oh, you know, why is Sony complaining about Call of Duty, but they take Final Fantasy and shit like that, and they make false equivalencies. It's like, bro, Final Fantasy there's only 2 Final Fantasy games that launched day one on Xbox ever in history in terms of mainline Final Fantasy, right? And I'm talking about spin-off like Strangers of Paradise, right? And that was Final Fantasy 13 and Final Fantasy 15. And if you compare the sales compared to what the Xbox version did to the PlayStation version, the Xbox version is significantly low. So it wasn't like Final Fantasy was an established franchise on Xbox for more than 20 years that came out on a yearly basis that was making them a shit ton of money, and millions and millions and millions and millions of Xbox fans were buying every single year. You know what I mean? To all of a sudden, oh no, it's big and bad Sony. You know, how dare you take this away with that? Yeah, motherfuckers were barely buying Final Fantasy on the Xbox. And so like I said, it's like people create like these manufacturer fake outrage for an agenda and shit like that. It happens in the political world all the time. So you best believe it happens in the gaming world all the time. And for like the Horizon, I'm not against the Horizon remastered. But I stand on it is not needed because I can play Horizon Zero Dawn at 60 FPS on my PS5 and I could buy it for $10 if I wanted to. You know what I mean? Like, to me, like that's it, and that's not me shitting on the game. Like people can see it like that, right?
I don't think that we're saying that you like. For me personally, for me personally, you ain't shitting on the game.
Metal Gear Solid 4, right? Absolutely, that needs to be a remastered and stuff like that because why? It's stuck on the PS3. I can't play Metal Gear Solid 4 on my PS5. I can play Horizon Zero Dawn on my PS5. I can't play Metal Gear Solid 4 on my PS5. So certain games, I'm like, yes, bring them. Other games, I was like, no, you don't need a remake to God of War 2018 because there's a TV show coming out. It still plays great on the PS5. You know, that's how I see it.
And like I said before, I think that everything, like I think with all the people that are being fake outraged or whatever the fuck it is, if June of 2023 look fucked up, then you can say all sorts of shit. Until then, I don't know why everybody's itching to be pissed off about something. They were just itching and waiting at the edge of their seat. Please give me something to be fucking pissed about. Like, relax. I get you.
I actually get more annoyed and pissed off at the fanboys rather than Sony themselves. So most of my complaints are, I'm complaining about people, you know, resisting me, you know what I mean, or resisting other people and stuff like that. With shit that's like, yo, it's like, I don't know. You know, we have exhausted this conversation enough, especially today. You know what I mean? Like
the
fanboys who always feel the need to defend every fucking thing for PlayStation, right? And there's certain things that people complain about PlayStation that I feel is unnecessary and it's not justified for outrage. The customer service thing was one. The SSD, installing your own SSD, the screw for the stand, the fucking shutting down of PlayStation 3 and beta stores that nobody was using and shit like that. When people get mad at shit like that, I'm like, what the hell y'all mad about? Like, what? Why? You know what I mean? Or even this shit, right? Or even this shit, whatever. But there's certain things that, PlayStation, that, you know, I'm not liking, or there's certain things. I'm not saying that I'm dissatisfied with the product overall. I love my PS5. I play it all the fucking time. I buy every single first-party PlayStation 5 game except Gran Turismo and except some of the remasters, right? But I bought Ratchet and Clank, all of them shits day one at $70 or whatever. So overall, I'm satisfied with the PS5, but there are certain things that I'm not fully satisfied with the direction of Sony compared to what they used to do and what they did now. I love the PS3 mentality of PlayStation when they were like, Shuhei Yoshida was, we could come out with Fat Princess. We could come out with White Knight Chronicles, right? All these are first-party games, by the way. They weren't made by first-party studios, but they're first-party games. We could come out with these smaller niche games. Why? Because our AAA games sell well enough to cover for these smaller games.
Let me say this:
it seems that PlayStation now is just like, no, we want all of, and we don't know, right? We don't know. Again, we don't know. We don't know what 2023, 2024, and stuff like that. But it seems like every game that they have to put out with needs to be a $200 million budget game.
Let me say this. Let me say
and those games were greenlit in the Sean Layden era, not the Jim Ryan era.
Let me say this, right? When a PS3, I'm gonna let Telly talk, and Thrash, and then I'm gonna wrap this up. My phone is about to die. But let me say this, right? When PS3 happened, they were like, do whatever it takes to salvage this shit. They were throwing shit at a wall and hoping something fucking stuck. That was an anomaly of a year. They were doing all sorts of fucking things because it was a sinking ship and they needed anything. If the Japanese games landed, then that's where they were going to go. If the Western games landed, that's where they were going to go. If multiplayer games landed, that's where they were going to go. They were doing it in all different. You can't expect that to happen. Now that they're in their groove, they have a direction to go to. That doesn't mean that they're not going to go for Japan, because they know it too. They know we want that shit. Because they've addressed it.
Yoshida said that the PS3 was already getting out of the water and they were already selling well. But this is my hope with like the live service games, right? Because obviously we didn't ask for 12 live service, but the market did, right? The market asked for live service games because the market, it's live service are being successful. So if one or two of those live service games are like a Fortnite, right? Because I think a lot of those games are not going to do well in terms of like maintain a big fan base and grow like that, right? Because live service games have more of a chance to fail, right? But if they're able to like, we're making billions and billions of dollars, we're making way more money than we did with Call of Duty and shit like that from our live service games. And if somebody steps in there and be like, oh, now that we're making so much more money, we can now take more creative risk with more smaller games and things like that. If that is the outcome of that, I'm totally fine with that, right? And I hope that that's was the outcome of it. It's like, we're making so much money that fuck it, we could take a risk and pump out a creative, unique passion project from a small studio, I don't know, a team of Sobi or some shit like that, and we can put it out and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because we making so much money that it covers for that.
I'm gonna say this: we can split the difference and say that it's probably going to be in the middle of passion projects and shit that they can make money for. Telly, go on.
So there's another point I heard today. When people are talking about how, this is a downfall of the video gaming as a whole. Is people mention not knowing exactly what certain companies are up to for the next 18 months. I don't understand why that's so important. Are people more interested in being hyped about the product or actually getting the finished product in your hand? I mean, look at all the other services and products we use in life. Do you know what the game plan of your healthcare provider is for the next 3 or 4 years? Do you know what they're doing to try to keep rates down, to try to not fuck you over? No, they're going to fucking tell you, well, the rates went up, only 5%, motherfucker, be lucky it wasn't 10. You're going to sit there and you're going to accept it. So why do these companies that make video games need to tell you exactly what they're doing for the next 3 or 4 years? I don't understand that at all.
Let me let Thrash finish this off before this phone dies here. Thrash, what you got to say?
Real quick, I'm not really appreciating the faces of the Roundtable Discord members just because they want a fucking championship belt doesn't mean you need to stalk me and trigger me with your fucking face. But overall, man, I'll make it quick, man. Just outrage culture is getting out of control. Like, niggas is complaining about games. We're not even complaining about how it looks. We're not complaining about how much it costs. We're complaining about actual just game rumors. And we've been doing this shit since the beginning of this generation. Demon Souls. Oh, it's a remake. It doesn't count. Astro Bot. Oh, it's not AAA because it came with the system. Fucking The Last of Us. Oh my God. Shit, nigga. Nobody asked for this. What's up? They killed Joel. Fucking bitches. Like this. I don't know.
Ragnarok is DLC.
Right, Ragnarok.
Oh yeah, Ragnarok is DLC. Another one.
The Zelda remake. whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, just even Xbox and shit. Even though I believe gamers should be complaining about not getting games, I think that's extremely important because that is all that we are here for. And if you can't complain about getting games, what the fuck are you complaining about? But other shit, Microsoft is buying this company. Let them buy them. I mean, it's their money. It's not just Microsoft buying, it's the company also selling. So you can't be mad at Microsoft if they buy a Bethesda or they buy an Activision. At the end of the fucking day, it takes two. And if Microsoft is willing to buy and they're willing to sell, well, then, nigga, it's going to happen whether you like it or not, unless the FTC steps in or whatever, right? We are complaining about too much business shit and then getting mad at actual games. We're getting happy about, well, not all of us, but people are getting happy.
They're not even getting mad at the games. They're getting mad at possibility. I don't know what the fuck they're getting like.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah, exactly. It's like
What if this console don't do it? What if a fucking meteor hits this fucking earth? We ain't doing nothing.
For the potential of you may have a longer queue line and a customer service that you never use anyways.
Exactly. Like,
It's dumb. It's dumb. Like all this shit. Complain about it when you cross that bridge when you get it. Go get over it. Or get to it.
The best way to protest it is do not buy. That's the only way they're going to listen to you, bro. Period. And you just got to complain and don't buy. But if remasters are triggering you, then you are very new to games because games have been getting remastered for I don't know how long. Like niggas brought up Persona. That shit is getting its third motherfucking run through. My nigga had.
Brad, when did Twin Snakes came out? When in 2003 on the GameCube?
Right. Yeah, on the GameCube. Exactly.
Metal Gear Solid came out in 1998. That was 5 years later. It was a full remake.
Exactly. And then a remastered original came out on the PS1. I mean, on the PS3.
Yeah, but I think the difference is that the technology, the technological leap between consoles back then was so vast that it's like, you know what I mean? It's like now it's like
even if you go back in the day, even if you go back in the day. When you have NES and shit like that, NES and Super NES, yo, they had to remake the fucking games there, or they'll give you the fucking cartridge or whatever the case is, but you can stick the older game in there. Like, it's always been going on.
Who remembers on the Super Nintendo? Street Fighter 2. Super Street Fighter 2. Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
Blaze Blue, and all the other Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear, Exurb, Guilty Gear Rev. Like this shit has been remixed over and over again. If this is new to you,
it's a staple of gaming. Yeah,
I don't know what to tell you.
This is a staple. People been begging. I remember when the PS4 first came out. And the PS5 first came out, people were like, "Oh man, I need Ghost of Tsushima to get that motherfucking patch. I need The Last of Us 2 to get that motherfucking patch. I need all these games to get that patch so you can utilize the power of my PlayStation. Why did I get it? I can't even play my backwards compatible games at a higher frame rate." And then they do it, and nobody says shit.
Oh, what about the widescreen? You need a specific monitor for the widescreen, right? How come we don't have that for consoles? Are you fucking for real?
Makes no sense.
Stop it.
Makes no sense.
Not even just. It's not even Sony.
Remakes and remasters has always been a part of the game. They've been here since the Super NES or
Super NES, Sega Genesis. I mean, Sega CD, all that.
So I'm always advocate. Like I love that Capcom is coming out with the Mega Man Battle Network collection. That's day one. You know what I mean? Like Front Mission is being remade exclusively for the Switch. You know, by Forever Entertainment, Square Enix, and stuff like that, right? So I'm all for remakes, remasters.
Let them remake rival schools, right? And tell me niggas ain't playing it.
I better not see you. I better not see you at all. Touch that fucking game if you don't like. Don't touch no remaster ever again, fucking again. If it's that deep, and it's not, it is. You know what it is. And I'll say this last thing, and I gotta. This shit is at like 2%. I'll say this one thing, right? This is definitely a Sony situation. Period. It's a Sony situation where people are just making any little bit. It's just like I was telling my friend earlier today. Anything that Sony does is undermined or is posed as a negative in the media. Like when they had the DualSense and the stuff that the DualSense can do. Oh, it vibrates too much. It's a little bit too overwhelming. I can't take it no more. Like anything that they were doing. You know, they had 3D audio. I don't like these headsets. Okay. What do you call it? Game sharing. No one says anything about that. Not game sharing. When you screen share, whatever like that. No one says a lot. It's just complaints upon complaints upon complaints for this console, and it's annoying. It is annoying. I'm over it. But yo, I think everybody in here, yo, I really do appreciate it. I'm ashamed that the phone is dying like this, but yeah, I gotta skedaddle here. Don't forget if you you know, what is it? Illicit Therapy is on YouTube. This whole thing is recorded as well. It looks a little better and everything. But you guys take care. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I appreciate the conversation.